Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we are going to talk about the Industrial Revolution 1. These are the main points that we are going to talk about. What is the Industrial Revolution? Who was James Watt and what does he did? Where took it place and why? What did the Industrial Revolution brought? The effects of the Industrial Revolution and economic consequences. So, what is the Industrial Revolution? The Industrial Revolution was the process through which technological advances led to dramatic economic changes. Agriculture became less important than industry, and industrial capitalism emerged. The Industrial Revolution began in Great Britain in about 1750. This brought important changes in the way of producing products, because as the population had increased, there was more demand for every kind of products. So to increase production, producers introduced innovation in the organization of work and invented some machines. In resume, the Industrial Revolution led to important changes in economy and society. Although this process started in Great Britain, it spread quickly to continental Europe and North America. Who was James Watt? James Watt was born in 1736 and died in 1819. During these years, he became a very important people in the history of the world. He was a Scottish inventor who improved the Thomas Newcomen engine, which was fundamental to the changes brought by the Industrial Revolution. This engine was invented in 1712. The motor worked condensing extracted steam into the cylinder, creating so a partial vacuum, which allowed the atmospheric pressure to push the piston into the cylinder. 5 things about a steam engine. A steam engine is a machine that converts the heat energy of steam into mechanical energy. Steam engines were used to create the effects to run locomotives and steamships. Steam engines are still used today to help run nuclear power plants. The first steam power machine was built in 1698 by the English military engineer Thomas Savery. A steam engine passes its steam into a cylinder, where it then pushes a piston back and forth. It is with this piston movement that the engine can do mechanical work. But why in Great Britain? It took place in Great Britain because the following factors. The population grew. They improved in agriculture. The trade got into an increase. They had technological progress, financial support from agricultural trade, and the political and social structure was favorable. What did the Industrial Revolution brought? First of all, the Agricultural Revolution, because the people prefer to work at a fabric better than in a field. Logic, no? As they work in fabrics, they could improve the transports, they had technical innovations, and they formed a colonial empire. Because of the revolution, 2 new ideologies were spread: capitalism, economic system, and liberalism, political doctrine. What's economic liberalism? It is a theory where free trade and non-government intervention are key to successful economic growth. Adam Smith works at the Wealth of Nations and he established the principles of economic liberalism. They are the following: the self-interest and the desire for obtain maximum benefits is what would drive to the economy. The prices are determined by supply and demand levels. The market will self-regulate. Governments will not intervene in the economy, and the private property will be an inviolable right. So, as a resume of what I had said about the Industrial Revolution, it is all the changes to good production and consumption. This could be carried out because the incorporation of machines in industrial manufacturing. But don't think that the transformation were taken from one day to another, because transformation took over a long period of time and by a slow and constant process. This affects to the other sectors which a radical change of the previous economic society. This also helps to the agriculture, as they can use this new technology to create a transport or a machine able to do the job of 10 persons with only 2. Like for example, the seed drills and the horse-drawn harvesters. So people led artisan workshop to the factory. This made a decline in artisanal workshop, taking their place in factories, which were largest buildings with many workers and machines. New techniques consisted on substituting manual labor and animal force with machines, which ran on powerful energy sources, like water at the beginning and later steam. With these new techniques, goods were able to be produced much more cheaply. There were greater job opportunities, there was an increase in wealth and in general quality of life, and independent urban manufacturing businesses first arose. New inventions and innovation occurred, and they invent things to spread information around the world. Effects of the Industrial Revolution: more work and better living conditions. They work as if all were just one. The children also had to help, they had a child labor. The women had their place working too. They become wealthier and they made trade unions. But not everything was good. The Industrial Revolution had some disadvantages. For example, cities become crowded because people went there to work. Smoking, because the factories spread a lot of smoke. With problems of slum, because the people that live there try to go to cities to work. Housing, because they were able to do houses and also because the people need to live somewhere. Sanitation, accidents, and epidemics. Now, we have more disadvantages, like women's and child labor were badly exploited because there was many jobs and many men died in wars, so they were insufficient men. Wars of imperialism and colonization, because they want to live in those territories where the life was better. Society became divided into rich and poor. How did they work? Workers are organized along a production line, and every worker makes only a part of the product. This allowed to make many copies of the same model in less time. So, thanks to this, the prices were lower and the consumption higher. Now we have economic consequences. The revolution in transports. Transporting goods and people were done faster and cheaper, and the capitalism grew. They used transport as the steamboat, invented in 1807, when Robert Fulton applied the steam engine to boats. The rise of trade. The growth in trade guaranteed food supply for the population. It also allowed industry to be supplied with raw materials and to sell its products, allowing each region to specialize in the production of goods that have then the best advantages in competition. The development of capitalism. The first industries were small and were financed by individual or family capital. But as they grew, they demand greater investments. In order to obtain these investments, they pushed from limit partnerships. The increase in economic inequality. Countries began to be measured by their industrial power instead of their geographical size or military strength. Industrialization led to a division between industrialized or development countries and into non-industrialized or developing countries. And finally, I am going to talk about the revolutionary ideologies. The first, Workers' Association. During the first 2 decades of the 19th century, workers expressed their opposition to the mechanization of production system by destroying machinery and setting fire to factories, Luddism. And some groups of workers began to be class conscious. They created workers' associations, mutual and societies. Unionism. It was formed by workers of various trades. The purpose of the unions was to improve working conditions. Their initial demands include the defense of the rights to form unions, the reduction of the working hours, wage improvement, and child labor regulation. Marxism and socialism, where they had better working conditions, female suffrage, progressive income tax, and the 8-hour working day instead of all the hours that they had to work before. And anarchism. Individual freedom. People had to not fight against any authority. Direct action. Its citizen should represent him or herself. And the abolition of private property. Society would be organized into independent communities. This is all. I hope you like it, and see you in the next video.